There is currently a lot of discussion surrounding a new feature being added in DBD's newest PTB called diminishing returns. What exactly are diminishing returns? It's essentially a feature that will decrease the value of gameplay modifiers when you stack multiple perks that do the same thing. One of the biggest build types being impacted by this is pure healing and medic builds. So a lot of people may want to know, will my favorite build still be viable, or will there be any type of healing build worth running? Well, I did all of the dirty work to answer these questions for you, testing multiple perk combos and doing a lot of boring math. And the answer is yes, there are still fun and viable healing builds you can run. You may just need to make some adjustments. In this video, we will first break down the impact that diminishing returns will have on common healing builds and explore what makes the most sense to run now. In the second part, we will highlight some alternative builds you can use if you still want to be a healer and keep everyone on the team healthy while also progressing the game. So here's a breakdown on heal speed bonuses in general. I made this originally for myself to help compare different builds, but it can be a helpful little cheat sheet. Feel free to screenshot it if you want to reference it when we are talking about some of the builds. In the first row, we just have our base healing at 100% speed with no bonus, which takes 16 seconds. Let's say you had botany knowledge, so you are healing at 150% total speed and 10.67 seconds. Or if you had will make it, you are healing at 200% total speed and 8 seconds, and so on. Some of these are very specific because they relate to certain builds we will be talking about. Okay, first things first, how do diminishing returns even work? If you're stacking multiple perks that do the same thing, the game will prioritize the highest one and leave it at its full value. For each subsequent perk that you add, it will be reduced by a certain percentage. So let's use an example of a healing build to break this down a little bit. The highest healing speed percentage you can currently get from just your 4 perks that are stacked is 400%. I don't think this is a common build, but the example is Will Make It, Circle of Healing, No One Left Behind, and Do No Harm. So let's say the game is prioritizing Will Make It, so that stays at 100% speed. Now for each next perk, that speed is basically going to be reduced by half. So if Circle of Healing was next, that would go from 100 to 50%. So third, you would have No One Left Behind would be cut down to 25%, and then Do No Harm would be all the way to 12.5%. So where you'd normally be healing at 400% speed is now a total of 187.5% speed with diminishing returns. That's a huge difference. Now that's probably not the most common scenario, but I think it's the easiest way to understand the numbers. Let's look at a more common build. Let's say you're running Will Make It, Do No Harm, Botany Knowledge, and Empathic Connection. So again, we'll say we're prioritizing Will Make It, and that is staying at 100% speed when you unhook somebody. We'll say you're healing somebody who is on 2 hooks, but instead of the 100% you would get from Do No Harm, you will now get 50%. Diminishing Returns prioritizes the highest speed first, so the next thing we would go to would be Botany Knowledge, which is normally at 50%, but being third in line would only end up at 12.5%. And then let's say you had Empathic on this build, which is normally 35%, now it's going to be functioning at 4.375%. So typically with this build, you would be healing at 285% speed, but after diminishing returns, it will be 166.875% speed. Also a pretty big difference. And we're talking about having a perk on that's giving you 4% speed or 12% speed. So of course, as the feature is intending, it's just really not worth it once you really start getting into that 3rd and 4th perk slot. But does it even make sense to run 2 healing speed perks? I personally think people sleep on Do No Harm in general. I actually think that's a pretty good perk. In reality, you're often going to be healing people that have been hooked at least once and often twice. And the nice thing is it works even if you haven't just unhooked the person. So if I had to pick 2 to run, I would do Will Make It and Do No Harm. With both active and at full value, you are healing at 150% or 6.4 seconds. If the person is only on 1 hook, it would be 125% or 7.11 seconds. But the nice thing is that Do No Harm will work at full value still if you didn't just unhook someone, so you can benefit from that 50 or 100% speed on its own. Will Make It and Botany can make sense too. It's a bit more predictable. With both, you are at 125% speed or 7.11 seconds, or with just Botany, you are at 50% or 10.67 seconds. Any of these 3 perks are also just really good on their own too, so it's really just your preference if you want to pair them up. So let's just say you're going to stick with Will Make It and Do No Harm. What will you put in those second perk slots? Well, there's lots of options if you still really want to be a healer. We might not be healing at 400% speed anymore, but we can still get different types of healing value. We just need to get a little bit creative. So instead of just focusing on pure heal speed, what about making sure you're healed or full reset value, or perks that can kind of help with healing but also have other purposes? And I know there are a lot of people that already run builds like this, but there may be some perks and builds that you didn't know about. I know there was for me. Before I made this video, I had no idea what Autodidact even did. Now, I'm kind of an enjoyer. Stay tuned for more on that. One option I tried is adding Leader and Resurgence. Resurgence is honestly just one of the best perks in the game on its own, in my opinion. When you are unhooked, you can get healed insanely fast, and then if you need to group reset, your other perks will speed that up immensely. Leader will give a 30% healing boost to other survivors within 10 meters. With diminishing returns, this would be impacted if your teammate was also running their own healing perks. So it's kind of a gamble in that case, but if not, it can be a nice boost for group resets. The 30% boost from Leader also applies to unhooks, totems, exit gates, chests, and saboing hooks, which isn't anything crazy but can be useful in some scenarios. I also swapped out Resurgence for Solidarity. I will always prefer Resurgence, but Solidarity can be nice to have if you're getting injured but not hooked. And then having Leader and your other healing perks there, group resets can also become a lot faster. With Solidarity, you are gaining healing progress while healing someone else. Another idea is having Overzealous and Inner Strength. I actually really like this one a lot. If you cleanse a totem, you will have a 10% gen speed repair bonus until the next time you are hooked, and you will be able to heal yourself in a locker in 8 seconds. Overzealous does work with blessing totems, but unfortunately Inner Strength does not, because I did consider adding Circle of Healing. But anyway, this was really nice to have strong healing capabilities for your team and yourself, while also getting a nice gen bonus. Drawbacks are finding and spending time cleansing totems, which, if you're anything like me, can feel impossible without using a map. I definitely might try this build more though. My final concept to pair with heal speed perks was Specialist and Pharmacy. My idea was that I could open a bunch of chests and there would be medkits around for others to use, and then I would get tokens for Specialist to boost gen repair. It was honestly a bit of a meme idea, but Specialist wasn't too bad. Okay, so let's just say we want to abandon pairing up any heal speed bonus perks and only keep on a minimum of 1. What else can we pair up with it? There are many different options for perk combos you can run to keep your team and yourself healthy. I personally had the most fun experimenting with Autodidact and 1, 2, 3, 4. I gotta be honest, before, anytime I tried to read the description of Autodidact, it was like reading another language. But I finally got the gist of it down. So basically you can earn tokens to gain 15% progress each time you hit a skill check while healing. Your first skill check does give you 15% less progress, so you essentially have to hit 6 skill checks before it reaches max value. You can gain up to 5 tokens, and then each skill check will grant you 75% progress. This is really awesome, but it depends on how fast in the match you can gain those tokens. One way to speed that up is by adding the perk 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where you play your tambourine for 15 seconds, and then you and your teammates in range have skill checks 20% more likely to appear for the next 90 seconds. This can help a bit with getting more skill checks while healing to gain your Autodidact stacks faster. It can also help some with generator repair, giving you and your teammates some extra progress with more skill checks. I do enjoy perks that have multiple purposes, so it can help with healing and generator goals and also give some benefit to your teammates as well. I also tried pairing Bardic Inspiration with 1, 2, 3, 4. I thought maybe that synergy could be fun, but I honestly didn't notice a lot from Bardic, so I wasn't really a huge fan, and it obviously takes a long time to play the tambourine and the guitar. There were a lot of killers who did want to join in on the fun, but I really was trying to let them know I'm actually seriously trying to get Autodidact stacks here, but eventually we did get there. I also tried Aftercare, so you're getting some aura reading on your teammates after you're unhooking and healing each other. Bond is one of my favorite perks, so anytime I can see my teammates, I do really enjoy that, and I do like that this is map wide, but of course it depends on unhooking and healing. I think it can be a useful perk though. I also tried Second Wind, but honestly I just don't see how that will ever be any stronger than Resurgence, and I'll always stick with Resurgence. But Second Wind can be helpful if for whatever reason you're not able to have your teammates heal you. You can become healed on your own. And lastly, I tried Plot Twist and Empathy. Plot Twist just being another way to heal yourself, and then again Empathy so you can see your teammates. I actually didn't mind this either. It does have a really big range, and it helps me find out who's injured, where they are, and so I can get to them quicker to use my Autodidact, hopefully. My takeaways from this experience are, it's best to run 1 or 2 healing speed perks, some combo of Will Make It, Do No Harm, and or Botany. Some good additions to make a full heal build are Leader to give some boost to your teammates, Resurgence, Solidarity, Inner Healing with Overzealous, Plot Twist, and Second Wind for self-healing, Aftercare or Empathy for team aura reading, and 1, 2, 3, 4 with Autodidact for some potential fun if you're lucky. My thoughts on this feature in general? I understand and agree with the intention for it to make it easier for behavior to add new perks to the game without worrying about game-breaking combos. I also would love to see the weaker perks be buffed as a result. Whether that's actually going to happen though, we'll have to wait and see. It doesn't actually address certain perk stacks that people find more problematic, however. My main complaint with this system would be that it can be very complicated with many different factors at play. I felt like I was preparing a PhD dissertation diving into all of this. So how is a newer or casual DBD player expected to have an understanding of what's going on with their build? The best solution to that would be to maybe add a visual that tells you what percentage you are healing at as it's happening, or a pop-up that explains the system when you start stacking similar perks. I would not count on anything like that actually being added, unfortunately. We'll see if this feature makes it to the live game. I'm kind of assuming it will, and then we will just have to see what happens from there. In the meantime, I hope you can have some fun with these different perk and build ideas. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to my channel. I will continue to feature more perk breakdown videos, as well as a variety of other DBD content. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.